So how much revenue does all of this make?
We're a public company, so everything's out in the open. We do north of $2 billion a year.
$2 billion a year from toys.
Meet Ronnen Harary, the toy company Billionaire. He has built one of the largest and most successful toy companies in the world. As of today, his company Spin Master is the 5th largest, right after companies like Mattel and Hasbro, and it's based here in Toronto, Canada. He and his company have created, licensed, and even acquired hundreds of toys, including Paw Patrol, Air Hogs, Kinetic Sand, the Rubik's Cube, and one of my favorites, Tech Decks. And in doing so, they make billions of dollars a year, employ thousands of people, and bring joy to millions of children around the world.
We made a decision early on that we wanted to build a company that entertained kids, and we said we're going to build it as big as we could build it. And we were open to ideas from wherever they come from around the world. We'll take meetings with everybody, we'll partner with different people, and then we'll go from there. And then the steps were, okay, let's get different products out to market and get into new categories and do new different things, and just build it step by step by step.
So today we flew to Toronto to meet Ronnen to find out what it takes to start and build $1 billion toy company, one product at a time. Now, before we dive into the rest of the episode, I want to ask a quick favor. Only a small fraction of the people watching this video are actually subscribed. It costs nothing, but hitting that subscribe button makes an enormous difference in helping us to make more videos, to grow, and to interview incredible founders and entrepreneurs. Also, quick note, Ronnen just released a new book detailing exactly how he built his company. It's called No Experience Necessary. If you're looking to improve your own life, start a business, or understand what it really takes to build something meaningful, this book is a must-read. Thank you for being here, and let's get back to the video. And it all starts with his very first product, the Earth Buddy. It was a nylon stocking filled with sawdust and grass seeds that when you soaked in water, you could watch it grow green grass hair. It was incredible to learn how he sold this very first product, which was before the internet, and how many he sold.
So Earth Buddy was around 30 years ago. Where did this idea come from?
So this was actually very interesting. So my parents are Israeli, and my mother was reading the newspaper, the Harnot, and there was a 2-page spread of 6 different people who were manufacturing product in Israel. And a classic Israeli style, they basically gave away all their numbers. And so they shared how well they were doing. And when I went through all 6 different people, it added up to a few 100,000 pieces that were being sold in a country of 8 million. Wow. So I said, no one's doing it here in North America. I've never seen it before. Why don't we be the first ones to manufacture and market it? And I went to my partner Anton and said to him, let's do it. And he thought I was crazy. I pitched him again. It took me 2 weeks. And then in class, Anton for me was like, once he said yes, he started going, and you got me brother-in law to help with engineering the product, and my sister with packaging. We get in profit sharing. We produced 5,000 pieces for Mother's Day. And then we got 2 incredible lucky breaks. We got a big order from Walmart for 26,000 pieces. And 2 months after the day we started, we got an order from Kmart in the United States for 500,000 pieces.
Wow. And how did you convince Kmart?
Well, it's a crazy story. How did we convince them? I drove down to Kmart by myself in this appointment, which Anton had gotten from a friend that he'd met the year before. That he's backpacking with in Europe. Okay, so he's backpacking. He's got the year before he's backpacking with her. And so to Anton's credit, he called up our buddy and he said to him, "Do you have any connections at Kmart?" And his uncle owned the palace in Auburn Mills where the Detroit Pistons played. So he figured his uncle had some connections. And so Aaron, who's Anton's friend, said to him, "Yeah, I can get you an appointment." So he got us an appointment. For some reason, I took the appointment. I don't know why Anton did the appointment. I took it. And I drove down to Kmart, and I got there from 9:30. Aaron is there, the rep is there. And I did a 30-minute presentation to the buyer. And after 30 minutes, he says to me, "I'm not the buyer for those products." And then I said, 30 minutes. It was incredible. He just stayed silent. It was very good. He just let me do my thing. And then in my mind, I was like, man, he's lying to me. So I pitched him again for another 15 minutes. But he stayed silent. And they said, "I'm not the buyer for this product." And then I said to him, "You know what? I'll give you the product on consigned sales. If you sell it, you can pay us. We'll just give you the product. They said, I'm not the buyer for this product. So I said to him, well, who is the buyer? So I just drove from Toronto. And so he left and he came back and he gave me a piece of paper, and written on it was this woman's name, Adrian Zacks. So I shook his hand, I took my box for Earth Buddies, and I started walking around Kmart Corporation looking for the buyer. And to my luck,
You just went there.
yeah, I was just walking around here. I didn't ask anybody, anything. And I found her, and she was sitting behind her desk, and I pitched her for 30 seconds. And she said, okay, I'll see you at 3:30 today. Went downstairs. The guys were like, oh, this is amazing, fantastic. Let's go for lunch. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I stayed in the lobby. I didn't know if I'd be back in or what would happen. And then I came back at 3:30 and I walked into her office. And the craziest thing happened. As I walked in, she had 7 other competitors' products on the side of her shelf.
No.
Yeah. And I didn't notice it before. So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely in the right office.
True.
But I gotta reduce my price.
Right.
And I sat down and I pitched her for, it wasn't even a 30-minute pitch, it's like a 10-minute pitch. And she did the most magical thing. So she's like this, we're talking, and then she turns around and she grabs this big book and puts it in front of me. And she's like, this is the vendor book, it's this thing. And she's like, I'm going to give you an order of 48,000 pieces. And if it goes well, ordering 500,000 pieces for Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah. In the first, we sold about 1 million pieces. And I think in this light, maybe 2 million pieces. Wow. This is our first line extension, the Herb Garden, which did not do well. This cool. I let go. That's my sister on package, but
Awesome. Let's talk about Devil's.
yes, this is our follow-on product to the Earth Buddy, and I noticed that kids were playing with them in and around the schools in Toronto.
Okay.
And I sold a bunch of them at the Grateful Dead shows when I was a teenager. So I was very familiar with the product, and I couldn't understand why kids were playing with them, but I felt something's in the zeitgeist, something's happening out there. The zeitgeist, like, what's happening culturally in society, whether or not it's music or technology or fashion, whatever's in the ether at that moment in time, that's kind of like an intangible. So there was something in the zeitgeist, a trend around the kids playing with these devil sticks. So we had this actor of producing the Earth Buddies, and I said to Anton, why don't we manufacture a prototype of his devil sticks? And let's go to Toy Fair in New York and see if we could sell them. Okay. And that's what we did. Through a rep that we met in Canada, they pitched Toys R Us through NKV Toys, and suddenly these two retailers with 2,000 doors bought this product.
Whoa.
Okay, and as soon as we shipped it, we started to sell it like crazy.
Okay.
And the craziest thing is that we were manufacturing and another Canadian company was manufacturing. It was split the market 50-50.
Yeah.
Which proved to me that there was something in the zeitgeist, because they picked up on something.
Yeah.
We picked up on something. And how did 2 people pick up on it at the same round?
Enough room for 2 people too.
And there was enough room for 2 people at the end of the day. So we ended up selling maybe 1.5 million pieces of Earth on the devil sticks. And this is what got us into the toy business.
Wow.
There's no product here.
It's amazing. Let's keep going, because there's some amazing things here. Air Hogs. Which one do you stand beside?
This is the original site. Sure.
Okay.
Where did this come from?
Peter Manning, is that?
So here's Peter Manning. This is John Dixon. There's a man a lot younger.
Yeah.
And they're tuberation vendors. They came to us. They had an idea for an air-powered airplane that ran on a 1-cylinder pneumatic engine. You just pumped it up, flicked the propeller, and flew around for 45 seconds. And back in the day in the 90s, you only had gas-powered planes and impulsive planes, right? And they would break on one plate. And this is the first actually amazing, it's called environmental product.
Yeah.
Because there's no gas, no batteries.
Right.
And so we took all the money we made from Earth Buddies, all the money we made from Devil Sticks, and we taught ourselves how to engineer and develop more up in Chicago. Another one, Erie, Pennsylvania. We found a factory in Asia. I spent months in Asia debugging this product. It took us 2 years to actually develop it and bring it to market. We were very, very fortunate where we did.
Yeah, and how risky was that? Because you took a lot of your money from before, you put into this. Did you feel like you were betting the business?
I think it was the only time in the 30 years that maybe we were close to betting the farm, right? But I don't think that... I think the company would have survived if the product wouldn't have done well. that being said, it was such an incredible opportunity, and we were so early in our journey that we had to go for it.
Yeah.
We had to go for it. And it was, as opposed to the Devil Sticks and the Earth Buddy, these were not our products.
Okay.
Right? Devil Sticks have been around for 30 years. The Earth Buddy, it's like a folklore. The story went back to someone in Turkey.
Okay.
Developed it, and then it got copied around the world. But this was our first shot at designing and developing our own products and having our own patents and our own IP.
Okay.
And from this point on, or if you said that's all we want to do is to design, develop our own products, and give us a shot to execute on that.
Yeah. And I heard that this one got pitched to some other companies as well, Mattel. And did they turn it down? And what did you see in it that they didn't see?
Yeah, the crazy thing is that we didn't realize it at the beginning, but later on, deep into the process, we found out that Hasbro and Mattel turned it down.
Okay.
And they were concerned about the fact that, it's going to fall and it could break. And if it breaks, you can get a lot of returns. And it's got a propeller and it may not be safe. How do you make a spinning propeller safe for kids?
Right.
So if you look here, we got our rubber tips on the ends. We got beautiful foam nose cone. And the wings pop off on impact.
Yeah.
So for us, we thought about it for a second, but we didn't think that it was impossible to overcome those obstacles.
Yeah. And how many of these did you sell? Or how well did it do in the first few years?
Well, this took us to about $35 million in sales, and then soon after to $100 million in sales. And we produced airplanes for 15 years. This probably generated over $1 billion in sales.
100 million in sales in the first few years. How did you warehouse all that? And there's the engineering process, the time that took.
Yeah.
Did you just make the bet to make that many, or was how do you make 100 million products?
No. We learned early on, inventory can take your company under. Okay. So the most important thing is to manage the inventory. So we went out, we sold the product, and when you sell to retailers, from the big ones, it's always a discussion in terms of how much they're going to buy, how much they're going to buy on FOB, which is from the Orient, how much they think they can do for the Christmas. And so it's a balance between that. And then as soon as the product hits, we're reading the POS, the point of sale, and we can extrapolate out what the point of sale is. Let's say you start selling in May, what potentially it could be in October, November, or by week 50 during Christmas. And there's a multiplier factor that they put on it, right? So we were extrapolating from that and other markets and how the product was doing, and we were always trying to match demand with inventory and not get a net burskies.
Yeah. I want to talk a bit about Tech Decks, which is right down here. This was actually one of my favorite toys growing up. So I still have Tech Decks. I know you guys started Flick Tricks, and then you acquired Tech Deck, right?
Yeah, it's the strangest thing. So we did Flick Tricks, which where are the Flick Tricks? Yeah, so here are Flick Tricks, and they did incredible. And there was something in the zeitgeist, the Flick Tricks, because when we brought these to market, they also took off for 2 to 3 years. Something about DMX Bikes, the X Games, Tony Hawk, it was just in the air back then. But at the same time that was happening, this was going strong.
Right.
But this wasn't ours.
Okay.
This was actually a competitor of ours. But maybe after 7 or 8 years, they wanted to sell it. And they just wanted to get out of the business.
Yeah.
So we had an opportunity to buy it and do a royalty deal. The business has been with us now almost 20 years. And it's about a $70 million brand year in, year out.
Yeah.
And
what did you pay for it?
And the Flick Tricks, the crazy part in the Flick Tricks is maybe $5 million business.
Today. Okay. So Tech Deck is really...
We paid $7 million for this.
And it's making 70 nowadays?
Yeah.
Even still today?
Yeah.
Holy, okay.
We paid 7, and there was a crazy 7% royalty for 10 years on the business.
Okay.
Which is now
10 years.
And now it's done. And now it's done.
Interesting. And it's still going today.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I still have some of my... they should have brought them, but it's definitely one of my favorite childhood toys. Let's talk about Bakugan. So Bakugan had a really big rise, and it was a global phenomenon at the time. What did the peak of Bakugan look like?
Well, first, Joel, I want to show you, these are the original Bakugans right here. You're asking the questions.
Oh, cool. Okay.
This was the best that we could do at the time in 2005. And this was our faction, so cone barrel ballers.
They really like marbles, but
Yeah, that was the original.
they're simple when you
So
open
if you see here, this is the original drawing by Aldrich Saucer. You see much better right here. So this was his genius, was the action figures inside the marble. And that's what we licensed for him. That's what we developed.
Then you partnered with Sega afterwards.
Yeah.
They took that on and we partnered with the 50/50, and then we could TV show it on.
Yeah.
But this went on to become a $1 billion franchise.
Wow.
Yeah. We did 4 seasons on Cartoon Network, sold all around the world, and generated over $1 billion in 4 years.
And what was your biggest lesson from Bakugan?
Well, the biggest lesson from Bakugan was because after Bakugan slowed down, we lost half our sales. And our biggest lesson was don't have hubris, don't get ahead of your skis, don't hire too many people. As you're growing, like keep your growth in check, because unless you know for sure that you're going to have sustainable reoccurring revenue.
Right.
And it was our first time going so high up in sales that we didn't keep that in mind. And we also were bringing so many products out to market because we knew that the sales were going to drop off. We didn't realize they were going to drop off that much. But we also felt that anything we brought to market was going to hit. And that wasn't the case. And we became very unjudicial, if that's a word, in terms of what we actually put in the product development process.
Yep.
So then after that, we learned the lesson of let's review even 4 times more products so that we'll have way more to choose from and we'll be more selective. Okay. The criteria, what actually gets in, will be much higher.
Yeah.
That and really manage your growth.
Yeah. You guys trying to make a comeback with this? Or is it?
Yes. Bakugan should have never left the shelves.
Right.
Okay. Never left the shelves. And we had an opportunity to do a major motion picture, okay, which I worked on for 2 years. And I think I'm the only person in history that turned down $100 million movie.
Okay. Why did you do that?
because at the time there was this thought process that when toys start to go down the life cycle, that you wait 7 years and then you can relaunch to the next generation of kids. And so we thought that we brought the movie out, it would delay the launch of 7 years. And we thought we can get that. We thought we can relaunch in 7 years and do the movie at the same time. But that didn't happen. That movie deal went off the table. And the biggest thing we learned was if you look at franchises like Pokemon, they never left the space. Interesting. Every year they produce a TV show. Okay. They're always producing new games. They're always producing new content. Even if their sales are going down, they're staying with their franchise. They never abandon a franchise. And we abandoned our franchise in this notion that we can relaunch it 7 years later, of which we did, but it never did as well as it did in the original time. And now we'll be launching it again, God willing, in 2028 or 29.
Okay.
And whenever we relaunch it, we will never abandon it again. We'll always stay with it, even if the price to produce the content and to keep the franchise going is high. You have to look at it over a very long amount of time, over 20 years, over 30 years. You can't look at it like we did in a 4-year chunk. Yeah, so I think that and the hubris was we learned from this. We learned how to best manage a franchise and keep a franchise going.
And you took a lot of those lessons
to Paw Patrol. Correct. So Paw Patrol is going into its 13th year. We always produced a TV show. We produced 2 movies so far. You refer to be coming out this summer. People thought we couldn't make a movie for preschoolers, right? And we did. And they're wonderful. So we have a big one coming in August, which is the pups are going to Special Island where there's lots of dinosaurs.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So it's pups meets dinosaurs. That's very fancy, which is great.
My nephew likes both of those things, Paw Patrol and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So where did this idea come from?
So this idea came from our desire to actually create TV shows for preschoolers. Bakugan is for boys and girls, but it was more of an older market. So we wanted to do something for preschoolers 2 to 5. We also wanted to do something where we have transformation, which is manageable for kids. And we wanted to produce something here in Canada. and really take ourselves up the learning curve of how many TV shows here in our own backyard.
That's amusing, yeah. And how well is it done?
Joel, you love asking.
How about it? Just what impact has Paw Patrol had?
You know, it's done over $10 billion in worldwide sales in toys and all the categories since 13th season. I probably think that 400 million kids have watched the show and brought the characters into their life.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, my nephew loves it. I'm starting to watch it too because he loves it so much. So it's just an amazing thing you built. Such a big impact. I talk about revenue and things like that, but 400 million kids is such an amazing impact, and still going strong today, right?
I think the most important thing is we constantly produce new seasons every year, update stories, do specials, bring in new characters, new pups, stuff like that.
Ronnen and Spin Master from the early days focused on toys. He and his co-founders didn't follow the boom of the internet and the tech trends of the time, so I sat down with him to find out why. So we just saw all these amazing toys. A lot of these toys started in the 90s, early 2000s. This was also the time when tech started and the internet started booming. Why did you choose and stick with physical toys?
It's a great question. I asked myself that question after the first 16 months.
Right away.
Yeah. I think that once we brought Ben back into the business, and once we started to have some success around toys, the energy was stay focused, stay in the industry that we're in, get better at it, get better at our craft, and go with that momentum. And it kind of suited our skill sets at the same time. I'm not that technical of a person. I can't plug in the VCR back in the day, you know. We can't write a line of code. So I think that all three of us are maybe analog humans, and that suited us at the time. Plus also, we were just inspired by the products.
Yeah.
We got really excited by the opportunities to develop toys and create TV shows and stuff like that. The irony is that we're getting more into tech now, 30 years later, with the advent of AI and what AI can actually do with our characters and how we can bring those characters to life and storytell and stuff like that. But at the time, we just stuck to our knitting with what was going well at the time.
Yeah, makes sense. So your new book is called No Experience Necessary. Why did you choose that title?
Well, the truth is the publisher chose it.
Okay.
I wanted to go with the title, The Inverse Risk, which I'm super passionate about. You know, I have a whole philosophy around the notion of risk, and that's riskier not to bet on yourself and not to go for what you really want to do in your life and what you're super passionate about, and not to outsource that to other people, right? That is the riskiest thing you possibly could do. And I wanted to name the book The Inverse Risk as a result of that.
Yeah.
Because to me, the whole, everything starts with you taking that step and going through that door like you did with, you know, your business that you started. And it's like making that decision. Once you make that decision, you unlock all this incredible possibility. And you never know what the upside's going to be. You can always play out the downside. You can never play up the upside. And that's why I wanted to call it The Inverse Risk, because it's inverse of what you actually think it could potentially be from a risk perspective. But the publisher was like, that didn't capture what you really 100% wrote in the book. And so it's actually grown on me, and I love the title now.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And it's very approachable for people.
Yeah.
And they can approach it, and really it's the story of my journey and Anton's journey and the journey of Spin Master, is that you don't necessarily need to have as much experience as you think to go and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think the title gives people that opportunity to dream.
It's so relevant for so many people who don't have experience, especially in this economy, or looking for jobs, or trying to figure out what to do. And the book is really written for anyone, but especially 20-year-olds, 20-something-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and anyone looking to get started.
Yeah.
I really like the book myself. And the last chapter is inverse risk. And I think that's probably a fitting spot for the title.
Yeah, totally.
But I like that. Every year you meet with hundreds of inventors. Your company meets with inventors across the world. How do you guys decide which toys to go with?
A lot of it is intuition.
Right.
A lot of it is how it makes you feel when you're interacting with the idea, the potential possibility, what it could be, married with what's previously come before in history and how is those products done in the past. Have they done well? They haven't done well. We're looking for certain play patterns. And then you're looking for what we call it, the pixie dust. And then is there something magical and different here? And it may not be there in the prototype that they're showing, but it has the potential to get where you think it could potentially be.
Yeah.
So it's a real art and science. It's a total art and it's a total science. You can't forget about all the other products that have come before you and take that into account in your decision-making process. It actually helps you. The past, if you're a student of history and you're a student of history of toys, it helps you with the filter.
Okay.
Right. But then at the end of the day, it's really an internal knowing, and you really need to champion that. That's the craziest part, because you have to champion it, and because there's so many naysayers within the company that will push back on it.
Right.
And you constantly have to push through and stay with it to get it to market.
Yeah. Makes sense. Which of your philanthropic initiatives are you most passionate about, or could you speak about one of those? And then you did recently step away from your role as co-CEO. What's next for you?
From a philanthropic perspective, we put together a scholarship program for kids with learning disabilities here in Canada. And so we have 20 kids every year getting scholarships. And one of the unique things that we did that we find innovative was that the kids have the opportunity to get access to tutors who help them in their learning. So it's not just a financial scholarship, but it's an actual learning scholarship.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then we have another initiative that we're working on in Israel to help people that are homeless.
That's great.
So there's a whole not ethos, but there's in Europe, the way they tackle homeless is it's called housing first model. So they believe that the way you deal with homelessness is that people have to have a roof over their heads, and not a roof in terms of sharing a room with 6 or 8 other people and you got to leave at a certain time, you come back at another time. It's like, it's your space, it's your apartment. And so they build these apartment buildings for homeless people in Europe, especially in Scandinavia.
Okay.
In Finland, they're the number one country in the world that has the lowest homeless problems.
Interesting.
And that's because they
house them.
They house them. And once you have a house, you have dignity. Once you have a house, you have a mailing address. You can get all the social services. So many people are on the street and they don't have social services.
Right.
There's no mailing addresses, and you can't actually get to them. Right? They have no opportunity to actually clean themselves up, get back on their feet.
Oh, that's amazing. And is that where you're putting a lot of your focus now, or are you still with Spin Master?
Yeah, I call it stepped up. I don't like to use the word step down from being co-CEO of the company. So that's given me the opportunity to do more philanthropic efforts, give me more time to write this book. I'm still involved with the business. I'm chairman of our board. So I probably spent 30% of my time in the company. My goal is to get the company to live beyond the founders. And that's one of my big efforts right now, is to have that happen, which is probably the highest form of, in my opinion, it's the highest form of success. But to make that happen, it's a huge task. Talking about the steps that you asked me about before, like this is the ultimate step, but it's a big one.
That's amazing.
It's a big step.
Ronnen, thank you so much for everything you do to bring joy to so many children around the world. And thank you for taking this interview today.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate
it. Yeah.